Your weakness disgusts everyone around you, including yourself. You smile when you should scowl. You agree when you should argue. You thank people for disrespecting you. You've turned yourself into a doormat and then wonder why everyone wipes their feet on you. The truth no one will tell you. You're not a victim of circumstance. You're a victim of your own cowardice. Every single day, you watch inferior men take what should be yours. They get promoted over you. They take the women you want. They command respect you'll never have. And deep down, you know exactly why. You reek of desperation. You leak neediness from every pore. You broadcast weakness so loudly that predators can sense you from 3 rooms away. Your parents didn't raise a man. They raised a people pleaser who apologizes for existing. Your teachers didn't educate you. They domesticated you. Your society didn't protect you. It neutered you and convinced you it was for your own good. You've been trained like a circus animal to jump through hoops for applause, to seek permission before speaking, to wait for others to give you what you should have taken years ago. That voice in your head telling you to be humble, to be patient, to be understanding. That's not wisdom. That's programming designed to keep you weak while stronger men eat your lunch. You nod along when you should be setting boundaries. You explain yourself when no explanation was requested. You apologize for having opinions. You thank people for wasting your time. This isn't politeness. This is psychological slavery. Right now, someone half your intelligence is making twice your salary because they demand it while you beg for scraps. Someone half your value is sleeping with the person you've been fantasizing about because they took action while you took notes. Your niceness isn't making you likable. It's making you invisible. Your humility isn't making you wise. It's making you irrelevant. Your patience isn't making you noble. It's making you a pushover that nobody respects. The world doesn't need another agreeable man. It has millions of those already. What it needs is someone who stops asking for permission and starts taking territory. But first, you need to suffocate that servant living in your brain who whispers, "What if they don't like me?" every time you're about to do something powerful. Because until that voice stops speaking, you'll never start commanding. Your body is betraying your mind before you even open your mouth. You walk like you're sorry for taking up space. You sit like you're afraid someone might need your chair. You stand like you're waiting for permission to be vertical. Every muscle in your body is screaming submission. Every gesture announces defeat. Every movement broadcasts that you're available for domination. Women can smell your insecurity through cologne and expensive clothes. Men can sense your weakness through confidence courses and motivational books. Children can detect your lack of authority through your desperate attempts to be liked. You move through the world like you're trespassing on property that belongs to everyone else. But power has a physicality. Dominance has a presence. Authority moves through space like it owns every inch it touches. When you enter a room now, you don't scan for empty seats. You decide where you want to sit and expect others to accommodate. You don't check faces for approval. You observe who's worthy of your attention and who gets ignored. Your shoulders don't apologize for their width. Your chest doesn't cave inward to make others comfortable. Your stride doesn't quicken because someone might be waiting. You move like molten steel poured into a human frame. Slow, deliberate, unstoppable. Other people step aside without conscious thought. Conversations pause when you approach. Room dynamics shift to revolve around your position. This isn't aggression. This is inevitability. Your handshake doesn't ask for respect. It demands it. Your eye contact doesn't seek approval. It grants permission for others to continue existing in your presence. Your posture doesn't hope to impress. It simply states facts about hierarchy. When you walk past groups of people, they lower their voices. Not because you're intimidating them, but because something primal in their brain recognizes apex behavior and responds accordingly. You take up space like you're collecting rent on territory that was always yours. You occupy rooms like you built them with your bare hands. You command attention like you purchased exclusive rights to every eyeball in your vicinity. The servant shuffled through life apologizing for his shadow. But you cast shadows that other people want to stand in. Your physical presence becomes a statement of intent that requires no explanation and tolerates no negotiation. You don't move through the world anymore. The world rearranges itself around your movement. Silence is your nuclear weapon, and you've been too weak to use it. Every time you fill an awkward pause with nervous chatter, you're announcing to everyone that you can't handle psychological pressure. Every time you explain yourself when nobody asked, you're proving you don't belong in adult conversations. Most men are terrified of quiet moments because quiet moments reveal truth. And the truth is that most men have nothing valuable to say. But you're going to weaponize the void. When someone challenges your position, you don't defend it. You stare at them until they feel compelled to defend their challenge. When someone asks you a stupid question, you pause long enough for them to realize how stupid it was. Your silence becomes a mirror that forces people to confront their own irrelevance. Watch what happens when you refuse to fill uncomfortable gaps in conversation. Watch how people start babbling to escape the tension. Listen to how their voices get higher. Notice how they begin justifying statements they haven't even made yet. This is psychological warfare in its purest form. You're not being rude. You're not being difficult. You're simply refusing to participate in interactions that don't serve your interests. And that refusal makes you the most dangerous person in any room. Because silence forces people to reveal their true nature. It strips away pretense. It removes social armor. It exposes the desperation underneath their carefully constructed personas. While they're scrambling to fill the void with their insecurities, you're learning everything about them without revealing anything about yourself. Your pause before speaking makes your words carry more weight. Your refusal to immediately respond makes people question whether they deserved a response. Your comfortable relationship with silence makes others uncomfortable with themselves. When someone tries to interrupt you, you stop talking mid-sentence and let them finish. Then you continue exactly where you left off, as if they never spoke. This teaches them that their urgency doesn't override your thought process. When someone makes a statement that doesn't require your input, you give them exactly that. No input. Let them marinate in their own words without your validation or contradiction. Power isn't about having the last word. It's about deciding which words deserve to exist in your presence. Your silence becomes more intimidating than any threat, more persuasive than any argument, more commanding than any order. You don't fill space with noise anymore. You fill it with gravity. Your voice is destroying your life, and you don't even know it. Right now, you sound like a man who's apologizing for having vocal cords. Your tone rises at the end of every sentence like you're begging for agreement. You sprinkle your statements with hedging language because you're terrified someone might disagree with you. When you speak, people don't hear confidence. They hear fear wrapped in words. Your voice betrays your inner state before your message reaches their brain. It announces your insecurity, broadcasts your desperation, and advertises your availability for disrespect. This ends now. Power has a frequency that resonates in the chest, not the throat. Authority has a cadence that commands attention, not permission. Dominance has an undertone that makes people lean in, not tune out. Lower your voice until it rumbles from depths they didn't know existed. Slow your speech until every word carries the weight of a judicial ruling. Remove every verbal crutch that weakens your impact. Stop saying, "I think maybe we should consider," and start saying, This is what's happening. Stop saying, I could be wrong about this, but, and start saying, here's the reality. Stop asking, what do you think? And start making declarations that don't require their approval. Your voice should sound like the final word in every discussion, not the opening plea for validation. When you speak with absolute certainty, people don't analyze your logic. They submit to your conviction. When you deliver statements like they're carved in granite, others don't debate your position. They assume you have access to information they don't. But here's what separates amateur confidence from professional dominance. It's not about volume. Loud is desperate. Loud is compensation. Loud is what weak men do when they have nothing intelligent to contribute. True power whispers and expects the entire room to strain their ears to catch every syllable. Your voice becomes a gravitational force that pulls conversations toward your agenda. People find themselves agreeing with positions they never held just because your certainty made their uncertainty feel childish. When you speak now, others don't just hear your words, they feel your authority. They sense your unwillingness to negotiate. They recognize that you're not making suggestions. You're issuing instructions wrapped in conversation. Your vocal presence becomes more compelling than their resistance, more magnetic than their skepticism, more final than their objections. Your emotions make you everyone's puppet, and they're pulling your strings for entertainment. Right now, someone can ruin your entire week with a single text message. They can make you angry with an insult, desperate with silence, grateful for the smallest crumb of attention. You're not a man. You're a vending machine that dispenses reactions when people insert the right coins. Every emotional response you give is proof that they own your mental real estate. Every time their words change your mood, you're announcing that they control your inner state. Every time you chase their validation or fear their judgment, you're handing them remote control to your soul. This is not strength. This is slavery with extra steps. Most men are so emotionally predictable, it's embarrassing. Insult them and they explode. Praise them and they melt. Ignore them and they chase. They're walking psychological buttons that anyone can press for immediate results. But emotional control isn't about becoming numb. It's about becoming unreachable. When someone disrespects you, you don't explode with righteous anger. You observe with clinical detachment. What are they trying to accomplish? What weakness are they attempting to exploit? What do they need from you that they're not receiving? When someone compliments you, you don't dissolve with gratitude. You analyze with suspicion. Why this praise? Why now? What behavior are they trying to reinforce? What do they want in return? Your emotions become intelligence-gathering tools, not reactive explosions. The man who can be moved by words can be controlled by anyone with a vocabulary. The man who needs emotional validation can be manipulated by anyone willing to withhold it. The man who fears rejection can be dominated by anyone threatening to leave. But you've become emotionally unreachable, not because you don't feel anything, but because you don't let feelings make your decisions. People will test your buttons. They'll try every manipulation technique in their arsenal. They'll attempt to trigger your anger, exploit your insecurity, weaponize your desires against you. And when nothing works, when you remain unmoved and unshaken, they'll realize something that fundamentally shifts the power dynamic. They have no leverage over you. Once you become emotionally untouchable, you become unpredictable in ways that make others nervous. They can't bait you into reactions. They can't push you into corners. They can't force you to dance to music they're playing. This makes you dangerous in ways they can't prepare for or defend against. You are no longer the same species you were when this began. The man who apologized for breathing has been replaced by something that doesn't require oxygen to survive. The man who needed permission to exist has evolved into something that grants others permission to remain in his presence. You don't chase approval because you've become the standard others measure themselves against. You don't seek validation because your existence validates itself. You don't explain yourself because your results speak louder than their doubts ever could. When you enter spaces now, the molecular structure of the room changes, not because you're trying to intimidate anyone, but because power radiates from your core like heat from a nuclear reactor. Conversations pause mid-sentence when you approach. Decisions get postponed until your input arrives. Room dynamics reorganize themselves around your position, whether you requested it or not. This isn't arrogance. This is atmospheric pressure created by concentrated authority. You've become the man who doesn't need to announce his importance because everyone can feel it vibrating beneath his skin. You've become the man who doesn't need to prove his value because his presence proves it automatically. People don't try to control you anymore because they've learned it's impossible. They don't try to manipulate you because you're immune to their techniques. They don't try to use you because you've made yourself unusable for their purposes. Instead, they position themselves in your orbit and hope you notice their existence. You speak less because every word carries exponential weight. You move slower because you're no longer chasing anything. You've become the destination others are desperately trying to reach. Your opinions don't require their agreement. Your decisions don't need their approval. Your actions don't seek their understanding. You've transcended the need for external validation and achieved something most men never experience: complete emotional independence. The world doesn't owe you anything, but it respects you enough to offer you everything anyway. Not because you demanded it, but because you stopped accepting anything less. You are no longer heard, questioned, or ignored. You are feared, respected, and remembered, and that transformation makes you completely untouchable.